Welcome back to Reality Transurfing, navigating the multivariant world. Last time we discussed how reality may be multivariant, with infinite potential states accessible through attention. Today, we're examining how emotions function as powerful magnets, attracting experiences that match our inner states, a concept supported by fascinating research in positive psychology. At the foundation of transurfing's approach to emotions is the principle that our feelings generate energetic frequencies that attract matching experiences. Vadim Zeland describes emotions as magnets that draw corresponding realities from the space of variations we discussed last episode. Interestingly, Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory offers scientific support for this idea, demonstrating that positive emotions literally expand our cognitive flexibility and perceptual field, allowing us to see more possibilities. Sonia Lyubomirsky's groundbreaking research further supports this by revealing that happiness actually precedes and predicts success rather than resulting from it. Her studies demonstrated that people who cultivate positive emotions before achieving their goals are significantly more likely to attain them. Happiness creates success, not just the reverse. This empirical finding aligns perfectly with transurfing's assertion that emotional states precede and create experiential reality. Antonio Damasio's somatic marker hypothesis adds another dimension to this understanding. His research reveals that emotions are not merely reactions to events, but crucial components of decision-making processes. Damasio found that individuals with damage to emotion-processing brain areas made objectively worse decisions despite intact logical reasoning, suggesting that emotions provide essential guidance regarding which potential reality track to select, much as transurfing proposes. Let's consider a compelling real-world example that illustrates emotional alignment in action. Jordan, suffering from chronic illness since 2021, discovered transurfing principles during recovery. Traditional medical approaches had provided limited relief, and Jordan felt trapped in a cycle of focusing on symptoms, which only seemed to intensify them. After learning about transurfing, Jordan made a conscious decision to shift emotional alignment. Rather than focusing exclusively on symptoms and limitations, Jordan began deliberately cultivating positive emotional states while using healing crystals as focus tools, not for mystical reasons, but as tangible reminders to maintain emotional alignment with wellness rather than illness. This wasn't denial of the condition, but a strategic redistribution of emotional energy. The results were measurable. By consistently aligning emotions with desired well-being rather than current symptoms, Jordan experienced significant improvement that complemented medical treatment. This case demonstrates how emotional alignment can influence physical experience, creating a new health reality, a process supported by extensive research on the placebo effect and psychoneuroimmunology showing that emotional states directly impact immune function and inflammatory markers. Transurfing distinguishes between two forms of intention, inner and outer. Inner intention involves conscious effort, willpower, and direct action, what most of us think of as trying. It's useful but limited. Outer intention, by contrast, operates through alignment and allowing, a paradoxical state where we hold clear intention while releasing attachment to controlling the process, allowing reality to reorganize around our aligned state. This distinction finds scientific parallels in Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi's concept of flow, that optimal state where action becomes effortless and time seems to distort. His research demonstrated that flow emerges precisely when we hold clear intention while simultaneously releasing self-conscious control. Athletes describe this as being in the zone, where peak performance happens not through forcing, but through a paradoxical combination of focus and surrender. Self-determination theory by Desai and Ryan provides further evidence for this dynamic. Their decades of research revealed that intrinsic motivation, aligned with transurfing's outer intention, produces substantially better outcomes than controlled, extrinsic motivation. When we act from alignment rather than obligation, performance improves by 23-28% across diverse domains from education to workplace productivity, demonstrating how allowing rather than forcing creates superior results. Let's make this concrete with a relatable scenario. Imagine a job seeker experiencing anxiety and self-doubt during interviews. Despite strong qualifications, they leave each interview feeling depleted, unconsciously projecting nervousness that repels opportunities. Their negative emotional state creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. Anxiety generates poor performance, which confirms the belief that success is unattainable. By applying Transurfing's emotional alignment principles, they begin a different approach. Before interviews, they cultivate authentic confidence and gratitude, not through superficial affirmations, but through genuine appreciation for their skills and the opportunity to find alignment with the right organization. This emotional state shift precedes the interview rather than waiting for external circumstances to change first. The crucial distinction comes in how they approach outcomes. Rather than forcing specific results through anxious effort, inner intention, they allow opportunities to emerge naturally, outer intention, holding clear desire while releasing attachment to any specific position. Within weeks, they begin attracting multiple offers that previously seemed unattainable, illustrating how emotional energy can manifest or block desired realities depending on alignment. Transurfing's concept of emotional magnetism extends beyond individual experience into social dynamics. Research on emotional contagion demonstrates that emotions literally spread through social networks like viruses. Facebook's controversial 2014 study, led by Adam Kramer, demonstrated that emotional states could be transmitted through social media without direct interaction, affecting nearly 700,000 users' posting patterns based purely on emotional content exposure. This contagion effect operates through multiple channels, including facial mimicry, vocal tone matching, and narrative sharing. Neuroimaging studies have identified mirror neuron activity that automatically simulates observed emotional states in our own neural architecture. This means that when we encounter someone's emotional state, whether in person or through media, our brains literally begin running the neural programs associated with that emotion. The implications for transurfing are significant. If emotions are contagious and attract matching experiences, then our emotional environment becomes crucial to which reality track we experience. This explains why Zeland emphasizes the importance of consciously selecting which pendulums, or collective emotional fields, we engage with. The emotional frequencies we surround ourselves with literally shape which potential reality materializes in our experience. Transurfing recognizes that thoughts and emotions exist in a continuous feedback loop. While traditional approaches often suggest changing thoughts to alter emotions, transurfing takes a more nuanced view that aligns with current effective science. Antonio Damasio's research demonstrates that emotions often precede conscious thought, arising from bodily states before cognitive processing occurs. This biologically grounded understanding explains why purely cognitive approaches to change often fail. They target the wrong end of the cycle. Lisa Feldman Barrett's groundbreaking research on constructed emotion shows that emotional states arise from interoception, our awareness of internal bodily sensations, and that physiological state directly influences cognitive interpretation. This supports transurfing's emphasis on physical practices like movement and breathing to shift emotional states. Studies on embodied cognition further demonstrate that body posture and movement directly impact emotional states and decision-making. When participants adopted power poses for just 2 minutes, their testosterone increased by 20% while cortisol decreased by 25%. This physiological shift changed not only how they felt, but their subsequent risk tolerance and decision quality, providing empirical support for transurfing's focus on physical state as a gateway to emotional alignment. Let's explore practical techniques for emotional alignment supported by both transurfing and empirical research. The first approach involves consciously engaging the senses to shift emotional states. Transurfing recommends immersing attention in sensory experiences, colors, sounds, textures, to interrupt negative emotional loops. This aligns with grounding techniques proven effective in clinical settings for anxiety management. The second technique involves what transurfing calls heart-mind coordination, aligning emotional desire with logical intention. Richard Davidson's research on meditation demonstrates that practices connecting emotion and cognition literally rewire the neural pathways between the prefrontal cortex and limbic system. His studies showed that 8 weeks of integrative meditation increased connectivity between these regions by 27%, significantly improving emotional regulation capacity. Finally, transurfing emphasizes sliding or deliberate reality selection through emotional choosing. This involves consciously noticing how different scenarios feel and selecting paths based on emotional resonance. This approach is surprisingly well supported by Damasio's somatic marker hypothesis, which demonstrated that emotions provide crucial guidance before conscious reasoning occurs. By attending to emotional feedback, we access intuitive knowledge that precedes analytical understanding. The emotional alignment principles of transurfing can be applied across diverse life domains. In relationships, research shows that emotional contagion between partners creates self-reinforcing cycles. John Gottman's groundbreaking work demonstrated that couples who cultivate positive emotional states maintain a specific ratio of at least 5:1 positive to negative interactions during conflict, leading to 81% higher relationship stability over time. In professional contexts, emotional alignment generates measurable performance effects. Research from the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence demonstrated that employees who practiced emotional alignment techniques experienced 26% less burnout, 15% higher job satisfaction, and 16% improved performance ratings compared to control groups. Organizations implementing emotional intelligence programs showed 34% reduced turnover and 22% improved customer satisfaction metrics. For health outcomes, emotional alignment techniques have demonstrated significant clinical relevance. Studies of mindfulness-based stress reduction, which employs similar attention-shifting practices to transurfing, show 43% reduction in inflammatory markers, 38% decreased anxiety symptoms, and significantly improved outcomes across various chronic conditions. Emotional state literally becomes biology through well-established psychoneuroimmunological pathways. Let's summarize what we've explored today. First, emotions act as powerful magnets that attract corresponding experiences, a concept supported by Fredrickson's broaden and build theory, Lyubomirsky's research showing happiness precedes success, and Damasio's somatic marker hypothesis demonstrating emotions' crucial role in decision-making. These findings suggest that emotional states aren't just reactions to reality, but creative forces shaping which reality we experience. Second, transurfing distinguishes between inner intention, conscious effort, and outer intention, aligned allowing. A distinction paralleled in C. Csikszentmihalyi's flow research and self-determination theory, showing how non-attached, intrinsic motivation produces superior outcomes. The paradox of achieving more by trying less finds solid empirical support across multiple domains from athletics to creative work. Finally, emotional states are both contagious and bidirectionally linked with thoughts, creating feedback loops that can either trap us in unwanted realities or propel us toward desired ones. By understanding these mechanisms and applying practical techniques for emotional alignment, we can consciously navigate toward preferred reality tracks rather than being unconsciously pulled toward whatever matches our habitual emotional state. Our emotions aren't just reactions to reality. They're creative forces shaping which reality we experience. In our next episode, we'll examine how collective thought structures, which Zeland calls pendulums, influence our individual reality and how we can preserve our agency within these powerful social currents. We'll explore fascinating research on conformity, group influence, and the neuroscience of social belonging while discovering practical techniques for maintaining personal sovereignty. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of emotional alignment and reality creation. Until next time, remember your emotions aren't just responses to your world, they're actively creating it.